Hi, everybody, and welcome to your Dodgers off-season report today, Wednesday, December 16th, 2009. Well, the Dodgers finally broke some news for those Dodger fans out there. I'm pretty sure they're happy to at least know that the management is still alive. We haven't really heard much from Ned Colletti as far as deals go, but he's out, he's there, and today the Dodgers did pick someone up. Who that is, you might ask? Well, the Dodgers have officially signed versatile infielder Jamie Carroll to a 2-year deal worth about $3.85 million plus incentives, and of course, this deal pending on a physical. Jonathan Maurer, his agent, said that Carroll turned down potentially more money from the Oakland Athletics to play for what he considers to be two Hall of Famers. That would be Joe Torre and Don Mattingly. So now, of course, this probably wasn't the signing that the Dodgers are wanting. Obviously, the Dodger fans, I should say. Obviously, at this point, Dodger fans would love to see, the Dodgers pick up a big name pitcher, or at least a good enough pitcher that can fill in the number 1 spot in the rotation, or maybe even the number 4 spot. Heck, maybe even number 3. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but the Dodgers do get some good infield help, pretty much utility help. Jamie Carroll could become the starting second baseman in place of Blake DeWitt, but even if he doesn't get the starting spot, he can effectively provide backup for Blake DeWitt at second base. And not only can he play second base, he can pretty much play anywhere. He can help out at third base to back up Casey Blake. He can occasionally play. He can occasionally play shortstop for backup for Rafael Furcal. However, Carroll does have limited experience in that position, and Carroll can also play a bit of outfield as well. The majority of his games in 2009 were played at either second base or third base. Last year, Carroll played with the Cleveland Indians, played in 93 games. He hit 273 and 315 at bats. His best season came a few years ago, 2006. He played in 136 games, had 534 plate appearances, hit 300, and scored 84 runs. Some of the other experiences for this soon-to-be 36-year-old second baseman include playing for the Montreal Expos and the Washington Nationals. That's the same franchise. And he also reached the World Series with the Colorado Rockies in 2007. So, nonetheless, Carroll would pretty much be 2010's version of the 2009 Ronnie Belliard. Everybody remembers Ronnie Belliard was picked up by the Dodgers pretty much before the what is it that you call it? It's the second trading deadline. It's the waiver deadline. That's at the end of August. They've got the actual trading deadline at the end of July. Then they've got the second trading deadline at the end of August. Those are for the waivers. That's just a whole different ball game there. But nonetheless, Ronnie Belliard came in, pretty much won the starting position from Orlando Hudson at second base. And that's pretty much Carroll's role here. Not saying he's going to steal the starting position from Blake DeWitt, but there is a good chance that could happen. But speaking of Ronnie Belliard, he is included in that list of 6 players that the Dodgers could lose to free agency this offseason. The other 5 players are Brad Osmus, Juan Castro, Mark Loretta, Doug Minkiewicz, and Jim Thome. Castro has since signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. But I wouldn't mind having Brad Osmus back on the team. Brad Osmus, a great backup to Russell Martin behind the plate. And heck, not only can he catch, he even went 1-0 as the manager for the Dodgers this season. You remember Joe Torre allowed Osmus to manage the final game of the 2009 season, and the Dodgers beat the Rockies in that game. So it would be great to have Osmus back on the bench as the veteran catcher help. Jim Thome, well, we never got that home run that we all wanted to see from him. Doug Minkiewicz, he did pretty well when he did get the opportunities to play. Remember, he went down with injury early in the season. Mark Loretta, well, at this point, he is one of the clutchest guys that we have ever seen. Everybody remembers his walk-off hit in the division series against the St. Louis Cardinals. That would be Game 2. Exciting game that was. As for some other news, the Dodgers did have invited journeyman relief pitcher Luis Ayala to Major League camp. They also agreed on a 1-year minor league contract. This past season, he was with the Florida Marlins and the Minnesota Twins. He finished with a 5.62 ERA. So with the Dodgers making a little bit of a louder noise than, well, last week, maybe this could be a sign of good things to come. This move is the second in as many days for the Dodgers. Yesterday, of course, they sent Juan Pierre over to the Chicago White Sox for 2 minor league players to be named later. Today, they signed Jamie Carroll, who could virtually help as a backup to Blake DeWitt at second base, or maybe even a starter at second, a backup for Casey Blake at third. He could probably be a backup for Rafael Furcal at short, but that might be unlikely. And he could even be a backup for outfield if the Dodgers need that. Remember, the Dodgers just lost Juan Pierre. I'll miss him, no doubt about that. But you figure the Dodgers also have Jason Repko down in the minor leagues, who we really haven't seen much of lately because he's been unhealthy. He's pretty much been down due to injury. And then, of course, the other outfielder that the Dodgers have is Xavier Paul, who did spend a little bit of time with the Dodgers at the major league level this season. So that's the news today around Major League Baseball. Taking a look at around the Dodgers. Taking a look at some of the other news revolving Major League Baseball. Today, the Red Sox have officially welcomed John Lackey and Mike Cameron to their ball clubs. The blockbuster 4-team trade, including Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee, both Cy Young Award winners. That deal has officially been finalized. Halladay is now officially a Philly, signing a 3-year contract with them, and Lee will be moving over to Seattle. And as a matter of fact, this blockbuster deal is the first of its kind, meaning it is the first time in history that 2 Cy Young winning pitchers were included in the same deal. And on one final note here, the Orioles may have filled a couple of vacancies Wednesday night. According to the Baltimore Sun, the Orioles have reportedly reached agreement on a 2-year deal with left-handed reliever Mike Gonzalez and a 1-year deal with third baseman Garrett Atkins. Of course, Dodger fans remember Garrett Atkins for his time with the Colorado Rockies. Both these signings would obviously be pending physicals. Mike Gonzalez is 31 years old. Gonzalez went 5-4 this year with a 2.42 ERA, converted 10 of 17 save chances. As for Garrett Atkins, had a great run with the Rockies from 06 to 08, but didn't have a pretty good year in 09. This year, he only hit 226 with 9 homers and 48 RBIs, playing in 126 games. The 3 seasons before that, he combined to hit 305, averaging 25 home runs a year and 120 RBIs per season as well. Well, that's pretty much all the news that I can give to you for now, at least from the Dodgers. But yeah, it's good to know that the Dodgers are starting to make some noise. It's great that the Dodgers picked up Jamie Carroll. It is a pretty good backup for Blake DeWitt. Of course, Carroll is a versatile infielder. He can pretty much play second base, third base, a little bit of shortstop, and a little bit of outfield. But at this point, I'm very comfortable with Manny, Kemp, and Ethier in those outfield spots, and I guess we'll just leave back up to Jason Repko. But we'll just have to wait and see. We've got another 3 months until spring training starts, and another 4 months before the actual season begins. Well, that does it for this edition of your Dodger off-season report. A reminder, I won't be, I'm not going to be updating this every single day, pretty much only when news breaks out. Dodgers sign someone, something happens, good or bad, whatever. That's pretty much when I'll be updating this show. Nonetheless, thank you for joining me for this edition of thank you for joining me for this edition of the Dodger off-season report, and hopefully you'll stop in next time. So long.